Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach. I have a little bit of a issue here. When I created the handlers for just a handler, and the reason why I need that is because in this case, the thing that I'm handling is an open generic. And so you have to keep it just as a handler, even though you're passing in these types, because you don't know what these are. And when you iterate through, you actually try to do this cast. This is the only place where I had to keep a cast in place because you don't know until you actually run the code if one of the things in that collection is of that specific type. The problem becomes with the handler itself because we rely upon all this stuff being in the base class. And what ends up happening is this next here is defined separately on these two. But if I put it on this base one, which I need, that's going to mess things up. So what we're going to have to do is put this here and then basically break the inheritance so that this one doesn't, these two don't derive from it. And that's the only really way that I can think of to get around this. And I don't think it matters. We're going to find out. But the problem is now, though, is that there's all this code that was relying upon this stuff being there that is no longer there. So we're going to have to copy all that too. So is it call count, unexpected call count? Yeah, because they only add callback. So it gets a little duplicated, but unfortunately, it is what it is. We just need to do that because of the way things work. Sometimes you find things out the hard way. Okay, let's just see if there's any errors that are coming up. Yeah, T-handler does not... Oh, yep, you just went away because you realized everything works. It's great when the compiler catches up like that. Okay, so now I think we're good. No, we don't need drawing. Why do you think I would need drawing? The choices Visual Studio makes at times is quite interesting. Coming back to this, I did implement IEnumerable, I think, on all these. Let's make sure. Maybe I didn't do all. No, I didn't. Okay, so let's do that. We'll say handler of T callback, because that's what that's coming out of. And then we will grab these explicitly implemented ones. And this will be T callback. That as well. And that as well. Okay, and then the last one we need to do is the one at the bottom here, which is callback and T return value. So then we have to grab this and put that at the bottom, making sure to put in T return value here and here and here. That should take care of all that. Oh, I missed it. Off by 1. The bane of every developer, being off by 1. So now we did this. So that is done. And now we need to go into all the places where we do this. So the first thing to do is close everything out. And let's get into the rocks. You know, it's funny, this is such a small change, and arguably I shouldn't even be doing it, but I'm too committed. Reality, I really probably shouldn't be doing this. I should be spending more time on the optimization of the actual code generation, but I got a little obsessed over this. So creating the lists. Is that done in this one? So here, yeah, here we say if we have type arguments, we have to just do the generic one. Otherwise we do this. But this is now, oof. Oh boy, I just realized something. I was able to get away with just the qualified name for the expectations, but that's not good enough. I need the actual callback and return type that this would need. This is simple. This is just the name of the actual type. So where are we doing the adornments? So if I say method builder, because we get the adornments when we build the name. So we say the adornments, if it's hiding, that's the method name. The adornments type is added there with the handler type name, callback. What we really need are these two things. This is also where I think sometimes I calculate things repeatedly because I need to. So I need to be a little bit smarter than that. So the callback delegate name, that's all in the method. I think I can get away with this. Not pretty, but I can get away with this. So we'll say that. And then we need to get, if the return type is a function pointer or a function, we're actually getting the adornments type here. This would actually probably be called the handlers type now. So we want to do something similar here, but not quite the same thing. It's funny how you do one thing and it just goes everywhere. We're going to call this handlers type. Except here we need, what do we actually need here? We don't need the adornment name. We just need the callback delegate type name. We just need to say here, handlers of callback. That's all we need. Dot handler. No, we don't need that. We just need rocks dot handlers. Same thing here. And this is something that another feature is going to pick up, that maybe we alias rocks. That could be possible. But what we don't do is put in that here because we don't need that. So that means we don't need that either. And then handlers type is that. I guess we don't need the projected name because we just have the callback name. Okay, so now what this becomes is the handlers type now becomes all of that. Or not. I just missed something. We're going to want this to be rocks handlers of that type. There we go. Okay. Because again, you don't know if your callback or your return, you have open generics, so you have to make this open and do any casting. That does make me wonder, do I have a case where I'm actually doing something with the generation of a method? Yeah, I am. Because that could be, so then if I'm here, oh, okay. I think it all pans through. I was wondering if you also had something on the return, but it should all work. You definitely have to make this here. Okay. So handlers type, this also has to be this because we need to fully qualify it. Rocks, not handlers. Okay, so we have the handlers with the callback delegate name. That is determined outside and it's put in for both. The return type is only, if it returns void, it's string empty. If it is ref like, yeah, this is a little sketchy because you should only do this if you don't have a void, but whatever. It reads a little bit simpler this way. So in this case, what we do is we pass in the handlers type, callback delegate name, And this is kind of weird. If it's a function pointer or pointer, we use that callback. If it's, but I mean, we're already doing that here, and it's the same thing, more or less. We just do it for adornments. And that's arguably what the handlers are. It's just a different place of storage. And now, now for the properties can't be generic in of themselves. So you can't have like a get of t. So we don't care about generics in this case, but what we do want is to know the callback delegate type name and that. So if I come back here and I come up here to the property builder, I should be doing something very similar here. Yes. And so we almost, well, not almost, we definitely want to copy and paste this. So now here, and we also need the callback delegate name. Shoot. It's funny, after I ran errands during a day, I come back and I'm like really tired. It's taking harder to think, which means I probably should just stop and take a nap or something. I don't know. The callback will be different. I mean, on the getter, it's one, and on the setter, it's another. So unfortunately, it's not as simple as this anymore. What we want to do is this. If it's a get or set or an init. Yeah, but it's not, this isn't hard. I have to completely redo this. And I've almost started to wonder, is something to make this a little bit simpler, is a property has 3 fields, a getter, a setter, and an init. And you either set the getter and or either the getter is set and or the setter or the init is set. And they each have different member identifiers, because I know all over the place in Rocks I've got this where I keep having to say, well, you know, could you, we have to keep checking to see, can this be seen, and then updating the number, and it becomes kind of a annoying thing to do. This is building the handler list fields. Method handler types. Oh, did I screw this all up? I wonder if I did screw this all up. But I put this all here. Oh, okay, actually, I stand corrected. So the method and the properties are all handled by this one handler, and I just updated that. So that's good. The handler list fields are what is done when I keep bringing this up. Those are build a hand. Oh no, I think I did screw this up. Method handler types. If I come back in here and I say build the handler, that was actually, I believe, doing what I was doing here. And that's wrong. These have to stay. So I just completely screwed that up. But through the magic of Git, undo changes. And hopefully all of that went away. So these are handlers, handler, yeah. Internal seal class, yeah. Handler of 0. Yeah, this, maybe I did do the right one. I'm not sure, but the first thing we do is write the method handler types and the property handler types. And both those are calling handler. And that is actually building the handler. Okay. So that's actually interesting, because I don't want to do double work here. It would be really nice if if I come back in here, I do the handler, and then I write the line. Basically what I'm saying is I do this right here. Why don't I actually pull this up and put it there? Because I'll have all the information I need and I don't have to recalculate it. Now, in the case of a method that has generics, the handler is still tDestination, all this stuff. So when I generate the handler list and I come back up here and I say build, well, we know that a mock type properties, that's kind of stupid actually now that I look at this. If I have a properties that any of them has a parameters of length 0, or well, you could have a getter and a getter won't have any parameters, and you could have methods that have no, so I got to keep that in there. Smart. So that just does that. That ends in the properties, and then we do handler list fields. This is where we do this. So what we could do is say while we're going through the methods, yeah, I think I know what I want to do right now. I think I'm going to do it in the next episode though. And I know this episode was probably a bust, but sometimes that happens. But what I have come to the conclusion is that build handler list fields needs to essentially be merged into these two. And as you're iterating through like the method handler here, you go build a handler, and as you're building the handler, you also build the handlers that's going to contain it. So I'm going to do that. And the nice thing about that is that makes the member identifier and everything else go away, because the handler list fields are basically just lists. This is fairly simple. And the only thing I was concerned about is type arguments. And this was only concerned about member identifiers. This is actually going to make it a little bit, I don't say compact, but it's going to stop 2 for each is going through the methods and the properties. And the less we can do, the better. But I'm going to do that in the next episode. Thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.